YouTube, this is Evie. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today we're going to be talking about punishments and funishments. And this video has been a long time in the making. I have had so many questions over the time I've been doing YouTube about punishments. Punishments, ideas. What are my punishments? What is punishment? How is it different from punishment? Can you do punishments if you're not a brat? Can you do punishments if you're not in a DS relationship? How can you do punishments long distance? Punishment, 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 punishment. Everybody wants to know about punishments. A lot of people are obsessed with the term punishment and use it all over the place. And I have very strong opinions about punishments. If you watched a live stream last week, you will know how I feel about this. And that's sort of why I'm making this video now. It's just, I've gotten so many questions at this point. I'm just like, you know what? I gotta make this video. I need to let people know how I feel about punishments, and hopefully this will be something that is educational but also has my opinion in it, and hopefully will make sense and be coherent, but we'll just see. If you want to know more about like punishment ideas and how to do punishments in certain types of relationships, I'm really not going to be covering that in this video. That'll be at a later date. I'll give some examples in this video for sure, but not like a full-on list of ideas. That'll be at a different time, so just stick around if you want to see that. Today, I'm strictly just going to be talking about definitions, using the words, and very like quick examples, but not like a full-on list of punishment ideas. How I would personally define the term punishment is it's something that is done in a negotiated DS relationship to correct an unwanted behavior in the submissive. That's how it is. A punishment is something that is used as a tool in a DS relationship, but it's not inherently desirable. And that can be a little bit tricky when there's brats involved, and I'll touch on that in a moment. But generally speaking, a punishment is not supposed to be something that the submissive enjoys. They're not going to learn from their actions, because the idea of a punishment is that you do this thing as a deterrent for either making the same mistake again, or forgetting protocol, or overstepping the boundaries of the relationship of some kind. It is specifically there as deterrent, and so it's not supposed to be something that you work towards. You perform protocol and rules to, in some part, avoid punishment, and sort of punishment is what sets up a portion of the structure of a lot of DS relationships. It is there because this is the dominant establishing that they have power to enforce the rules that they create. So it is a very powerful and important tool to have in DS relationships, but it is not supposed to be something that is enjoyable. Now with brats, it gets a little bit trickier. The relationship between punishment is not quite as clear-cut as it is for a lot of other types of DS relationships. I would say that when it comes to brats and punishments that are not desirable, but generally speaking, a brat will do, even if they misbehave and they break rules, they either do so in a way that doesn't result in an extremely severe punishment, or they do want the punishment, but not for the punishment itself, more because it is, again, sort of establishing the boundaries of that relationship, and it's establishing, who has what power in the relationship. And that's really what motivates brats. If you're more interested in brats and how bratting works in BDSM, I do have an entire video about that, link in the description box down below. But generally, that is what defines a punishment. And there are a lot of other ways besides what I just talked about that people use punishment for. There's a term that I would like to introduce to everybody, which you may already know, and that is funishment. And that is basically something that is a punishment, but it is desirable for both parties involved. It's something that the submissive enjoys and something that the dominant enjoys. And so for that reason, I think a lot of the times when people are talking about punishments in relationships and, how to get punished, what my punishments are, they're talking about, what things do you do in your relationship that's like fun and enforces the DS dynamic. And it's sort of, for me, it's a bit hard to wrap my head around that particular usage of the word punishment, because really what I think you're looking for is punishment, which is basically just saying this is something that we both really enjoy, but we're framing it like it's a punishment, even if it's not really for something that's actually punishment. Like, if you're in a DS dynamic and you misbehave, you break a rule, and then you get a punishment afterwards, you're just going to keep breaking that rule over and over and over again. Whereas with a punishment, it's supposed to be you do the action, and then a negative thing happens as a result, and you don't like it, so you don't repeat that thing because you don't want that thing that I just mentioned to happen again. And if you're doing punishments, it's a way of saying, let's pretend I'm going to punish you, but really it's not about establishing the boundaries of our DS dynamic or enforcing rules as it is about just having a fun, sexy, enjoyable time. And I think part of this comes from a lot of the older BDSM literature that's out there, and especially a lot of the early online resources about BDSM uses punishments a lot. It's a very trite way of talking about a BDSM relationship was I was so bad and so naughty and now I'm gonna get punished. Like it's like that kind of thing, you know, right? Like it's very like Harlequin paperback novel kind of thing. Like, oh daddy, I've been so bad. Please spank me. Like it's like that kind of punishment thing. But really, you're just pretending that you don't like it, or you have sort of a setup of a scene that is pretending the people involved don't like it. Really, you do because you're so dirty and so bad. um, and I think a lot of people use that as a setup for impact play in particular, and spanking scenes, and also squirrel goal type scenes, and age play and DDLD in general. I think very much leans on the sort of punishment narrative to establish our scenes. And if you do that and that works for you, that's great. But I think framing all types of play that involves impact play or hurting the bottom in some variety, and I mean bottom as an S type, not literally like spanking somebody's ass, I think it very much limits you in the types of play and types of energy that you're able to engage in, because you don't need to have punishment to make a scene work. You don't have to pretend like you've done something bad to get play that you enjoy. You don't have to pretend like you are being disrespectful in order to get punished. Like, if you want an impact play scene to happen and you want to get spanked, or you want, to have XYZ thing happen, just ask. Like, say, hey, so and so person who is my play partner and or my dom, and doing so in a way that is respectful for our protocol and type of relationship, I would very much enjoy doing XYZ type of play. How do you feel about that? And then you just negotiate for a scene from there. And it does not have to involve the term punishment or pretending like it's a punishment or anything like that whatsoever, and I promise you will still have a good time even if you don't call it a punishment. You are allowed to enjoy BDSM besides like this sort of weird sin redemption thing that I think a lot of people have going on. And trust me, I was raised Catholic, so I know all about that good old-fashioned Catholic guilt, but you don't have to pretend like you're guilty or that you deserve this because you are bad in order to do a scene. I think that's sort of really what I'm getting at here. And so if you were talking about a situation where you are framing a scene as being something that is punishment, even if it's not really about correcting a behavior, I would use the term punishment. And I think that would really, just help everybody out so much. As well, I think it's sort of, I don't want to say it's problematic, but it is a bit strange to me. We will talk about punishment and like how often they get punished, like it's a good thing. Like really what you're saying there is that I get punished, 3 times a week. That just says to me that you're really shitty at keeping rules, and you're probably not like a super great submissive, if I'm being totally honest. The idea of engaging in a DS relationship is that you want the rules that are in place, and if you are continually breaking those rules and getting punished, either A, not giving a fuck about it, or B, like just keeping on doing the rule breaking over and over and over again, because you just don't care, or you think getting punished is a good thing, like that is going to corrode your DS relationship so freaking fast. And if you are a brat, or if you want punishment, set up things and parameters to where you don't have to break the core rules of a DS relationship in order to like have that narrative that's really hot for you. Like if you're a brat, You can have little tiny things that you do to Brett that don't corrode the underlying DS relationship. Like maybe you lift up your skirt and distract your Dom from playing video games at the exact moment when he's fighting a boss. Or maybe you purposefully throw all of the clean laundry on the ground or something. Like you don't have to brat every single rule. You need to pick and choose your battles so that way you are not like corroding the relationship you have with your dominant, the confidence they have in order to dominate you. If you are in a DS relationship and you are constantly getting punished because you can't follow the rules and it makes you feel bad, you need to renegotiate that DS relationship. You need to revisit the rules, the level of protocol, the types of things that you're engaging in. You need to talk about that again, because if you're continually getting punished, you're like, oh, I keep getting punished all the time and I can't ever do anything right, and that's like the worst nightmare ever for me personally, is that I'm going to be stuck in a relationship like that. So make sure you take the time to talk about your relationship if you are experiencing that kind of thing with, punishment constantly. And again, if you are somebody who does want punishment constantly because you think just breaking the rules and making fun of DS is, just gets you your jollies, I can't. I don't know what to tell you, honestly. Like, that is some major topping from the bottom there, and that's a little bit problematic. And there are ways to brat that's healthy, and then there's just somebody who really doesn't want to give up power but wants to pretend like they do or that they can, and you're really just causing yourself your own heartache there. And there's one more thing I want to mention before I wrap up this video, and that is the relationship between masochism and punishment. I think it's extremely common for people who are masochists to, again, follow that narrative, that storyline of having punishments in their scenes, but you don't need to have punishments in order to be a masochist. And if you're a masochist, you don't need to pretend like you're getting punished or that you are engaging in a punishment scene. You can just do it because it feels good, and that is totally okay and fine. And that is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, like I said, I am going to be doing a video or a couple of videos here shortly talking about different types of punishments and, how to actually do punishments and negotiate for them and all of that stuff. So if you guys want to watch those, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe so you can get notifications of when I post new videos. If you guys have any questions, comments, stories, etc., please feel free to put that down in the comment section below. Links to all of my social media and videos I talked about and things like that will be in the description box. If you like this video and you want to support this channel, you want to see more like this, please do consider going to my Patreon. Every dollar really, really does help and is what allows me to do these longer video formats and like do live streams and all that great stuff. So I would highly recommend going to my Patreon. If you guys like the live stream that I did last weekend, we are getting very close to the next goal that will let me do live streams every single week, which I am totally looking forward to. So if you guys haven't already, please do consider checking that out. And as always, until I see you next time, have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.